5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On the edge of the box is Madden. Madden trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, it's there! Oh my word! What a goal from Paddy Madden! The Irishman strikes again! And is that the goal that's going to send Stockport County back into the Football League?
Hello and welcome to the Scarf Bagara War, the show that takes the medically approved apparatus of choice and pricks it into the fingertip of county news, views and opinion, hoping to draw blood, but failing and being left angry and horny, mostly. I've brought some stuff up, I'll tell you later. Yes, we're here every Wednesday between the hours of 8 and 9, giving you the lowdown on the last week at some 4th Division football club or other. And with that in mind, let's get on with it because we've got more on our plate than a spinster at a wedding, let's face it. Final week without Russ at the helm, so promise it'll be good next week. Just leave that one to hang. He'll like that. He'll like that. If he's listening on it. Oh, he won't be on his bike now. He'll be kicking back in his hotel or wherever he's staying, thinking, yeah, I'll watch them lads. And he's already disappointed, aren't we all, mate? Aren't we all? It's only early in the season, though. You're not allowed to be disappointed early in the season, apparently. Joining me again, having shown himself to be a more than adequate replacement. I don't like words like adequate. It makes because a valuable replacement. It's Waggy. Hello, mate. You all right?
All right, pal. How are we doing?
Yeah, you big sturdy shiffer over a podcaster. How's it going?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
It's very much. We've very much got the spin-off team with us tonight because we're also joined by Ben, aka County Shirts. How are we doing? Come in sale.
Yes, hello. How are we all? We good? I'm more than happy to be branded as adequate. That's all. I'm comfortable with that, and I never
comfortable with adequate.
Yes.
Yep.
It's probably better than what you've been called sometimes.
It's a familiar bedfellow being adequacy.
Yeah. Adequate, mediocre. I'll take all of that, to be honest.
That,
anything else just conjures up unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, solid 4 out of 10 all round.
Yes.
Solid 4. Yeah, a solid 4.
Been spying on me, haven't you? We have got a lot to get through tonight. Cheeky bit of admin, first of all. Big congratulations to the Thompson family on their just hitting the shit out of some stuff. I watched the video and just I had to have a lie down. So massive, it's absolutely amazing. Like they've been popping up on Radio Manchester, they've been popping up on BBC News. Brilliant work, and thank you to everyone who supported it as well for them, because I know we shared the links and stuff like that. So good on everyone. Talking of, I bet they're just in bed though. You're going to be in bed for like a week after that, aren't you?
Yeah.
I can't even consider it. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do 2.4 minutes, let alone like 24 hours.
Yeah, it's a supreme effort to do that.
Yeah.
For such a worthy cause and with the story behind it and everything. Yeah, completely, there's not enough words to kind of praise that kind of endeavor. So yeah, top work all around.
Absolutely. So from one charity fundraiser with a serious message to another charity fundraiser with a serious message, but probably a hilarious outcome, as you'll find out in a minute. Let me just get the day up. On the Sunday, the 3rd of September, there is, in aid of Manchester Mind, there's a 8-hour 5-a-side football match going on at Power League Stockport.
Sounds like a normal League 2 game now, doesn't it? 8 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yours truly is rocking up down there between the hours of 1 and 2 p.m. Well, I say 1 and 2 p.m. 1 and 1:05.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and have a kick about, bang a few in the goal hole and all that. Just basically show people how it's done.
Exactly that. Yeah.
I'm
going to throw another peep show line in then, but too much of a hole, isn't it? Yeah. No dice.
No dice. Yeah. I've been quoting Peep Show all week because that's just how I flirt now, apparently. Yeah, so that is the 3rd of September, which is a Sunday. If anyone can quickly tell me who we're playing on the 2nd, are we at home?
Crawley at home.
Oh, that's going to be a day on the drink. Oh, I am absolutely going to die. Excellent stuff. Get the ambulance on standby now. So I will put the link for that in the episode description. There's a Just Giving page that people can, I mean, either donate on there or come down, have a good old laugh at me trying to potter about a football pitch, and then maybe give some actual cold hard cash. Either way, it's just top entertainment, isn't it? Can't beat it. I'm not happy about it. As soon as I saw it in the supports group on Facebook, and I was like, right, I'm gonna reply now, because if I overthink it, I won't do it.
Well, if you think back to 2015, 2016, no, yeah, probably 2015, there's the, in my mind, iconic photo of you with the red Gola shirt from 1992, handing that back into the public domain, because obviously you got your grubby hands on it via the co-op in 2014. By the actual game, you got your hands on it. And the date. Chester at home, FA Cup.
So FA Cup, yeah.
So if you could find another shirt of similar quality and release it back into the public around that time, that'd be tremendous, please. Thank you.
I mean, I am a man of the people, so
yeah, often so.
If anyone's going to do it, I mean, it's what people though. That's the issue. Oh God, I didn't know. I was talking to. No, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. No. I'll leave that till afterwards, actually, because no, I've just realised we're live. I was like, no, I probably shouldn't say that when I'm live. I'll save that for later. Right, let's kick off then. Straight after this. And just because I forgot to say it a minute ago, don't forget our Patreon is it's been up and running for ages, but there's some good shit on there now. We have got 2 episodes of the Monday show, the Courtyard Club Call, courtesy of Waggy and Dan. It's good because the way the last 2 Saturdays have gone, I don't really have to think about it. I can just listen to you two talk about it, and then come Wednesday and be like, yeah, we'll just gloss over the Saturday game. Fine. There's 2 episodes that comes into your feed on a Monday evening, and it now links with Spotify. You can link your Spotify account on Patreon, and then so you don't even have to go on the Patreon app to listen to it, or Acast. You can do it on apparently. So I'm told. I've not checked. Russ is meant to be on that, but
tapping away while he's on his bike.
Yeah.
Doing non-handed down a B road.
Watch out for drunk drivers, Russ. So that is on there. The first episode of the other spin-off, Dave Smith Never Existed, is up. It's a quiz hosted by the man himself there, Ben, pitting me against Silomas. Not gonna spoil it for you, because I mean, there's a good sense of jeopardy in there, isn't there? You don't want to don't want to spoil it. Naturally.
If anyone has listened to it, you'll hopefully appreciate the effort that went into not coming up with the ideas, but ripping off football cliches quiz. But the next one, it makes the first one look like back of a fag packet 5-minute job. There is some really unique content in that one, and again, stuff that you cannot possibly prepare for. So I think we have another contender lined up, don't we, Nick? So just need to finalise that, but hopefully we can record that in the next few weeks and get the next quiz up, as well as doing our next kind of detailed examination of County's history in the theme of certain 11s, I think is what we're after.
A jamboree of nerdery, yeah. I'm feeling the awful squad number 11, I think is the I've got a lot to say on that. Oh God. Right.
You've got to limit that to an hour's episode. You can't go on for like 4
minutes.
I think already, we've got, I know Ian Ormson had this number as well, but I think already Jordan Smith, the new subkeeper, has put a claim in for number 12.
Couldn't care less. Don't bother me.
Yeah, I can't get on with that. Can't get on with that. But also we've got keepers with consecutive squad numbers because Bobby Jones is 13.
Now that I don't like. That element of it I don't like. I'm not one for caring.
He's gone
about
now. He's gone. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the actual football.
Don't need to talk about anything else. Let's go numbers.
I did enjoy some of the bedwetting about the fans not having number 12 anymore. Like it. Does anyone actually go and buy the programme and look at the squad list and go, oh, that's us that?
Go home and show them, Mum. Yeah, I was on the bench again today, Mum. No. I suppose it was a fairly nice sentiment when we were fan owned, wasn't it? Or trust owned, I think. It first came in. Fairly nice sentiment. But since then, every club's done it. I just find it a bit naff. And I'm glad that 12 is back in circulation. So, yeah.
What outfield position do you think number 12 is suited to, lads? Just doing anything to avoid having to talk about Walsall on Saturday, to be honest.
I think it's up top.
12.
I think it'd be like a striker or.
Do you even name
Olivier Giroud?
12. Giroud?
Giroud had 12 at Arsenal.
Is that it? No one else has ever had this. I think it was Brian Robson 12 at United in the back end of his United days. Or was it just kind of he was like a perennial sub when it was still 1 to 11, so often more 12?
Yeah, it would have been just. Yeah, I think it would have been just numbers.
12. Our squad, in terms of the squad number for number 12, other than Ormson wearing it in the National League, well, the Blue Square Premier, so 11, 12, 12, 13, he wore the number 12. Or certainly in 11, 12 he did. I don't think we ever had anyone in the Football League with a 12.
Gazette, Jim Goodwin.
He's bang on. Jim Goodwin was in 03, 04 or 02, 03. I've got your shirt, a long sleeve blue TFG one with 12 on the back. Good shout, guys. Yeah, shows what I know. Yeah.
I've just realised I scrolled past my intro and I had a great little opening, my little pre-intro line, and I've not got to do it this week, and I really worked hard on that. For most of this week, that was the only thing I had written down on my notes, and it was turns out he was just helping David Rathband paint his fence. No idea of the context for that, but there we go.
Shoehorned it in.
That's the episode title sorted. Job's a good one. Excellent. Right, let's fucking get on to all. Oh, right back is a good position for number 12, I'd say.
Yeah. Let's save it for the paying customers.
The paying customers, yeah.
Not these plebs on the call.
Yeah,
Pond life.
These shit munchers. So yeah, you can find the link to our Patreon in the episode description, and I think there's still a 7-day free trial on there, so you get a bit of.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't they? And then forget, if you're anything like me, forget to cancel after the free trial and just have that money pile out of my account for about 5 years before I decide to take a look at myself. That's the right way to do it, isn't it?
Let's do it.
Right, let's get on to Walsall, aren't we? Waggy, Waggy, me and you aren't allowed to talk about it according to
yeah, well, I was just thinking that. Yeah, we'll just sit here for the next 20 minutes and let Ben talk because he was there, we weren't.
So
one of us allowed.
Able to offer some insight, isn't it?
Correct. The floor's yours, Ben.
Walsall. I'm going to shock you here that we started quite well. Had an opening 10-15 minutes where we looked really promising, quite dangerous without ever having any real clear-cut chance. We then made a mistake. We went behind, never really recovered. Had lots of possession and lots of crosses and lots of touches without ever really doing anything with it. Went another goal behind. Repeat. Rydell scored. We had a load of energy in their box for the last 5 minutes. The final whistle went. We lost. Does that sound familiar?
Yep, done. Bradford.
Yeah. I think
it's a frustrating watch.
Well, yeah, like I say, we started quite well in the same way that I think every game under Challoner we've ever had, we've pretty much started every game quite well. We come out fast, we come out with a bit of intent. I look like we're going to do something, but then very, very often it seems to be if we don't take advantage of that. I think if we do, we tend to go on and win and do quite well. But if we don't,
yeah,
the other team rides their luck and then they get back into it, and we struggle beyond that. And that's exactly what happened. Ethan Pye, he'll know that he ballsed up for the goal, heavy touch, had the ball robbed off him, but then we still seem very non-existent in the middle when the ball came across. Nice finish past Ben. There was a few things which I wasn't hugely impressed with. And I would, it's early days and all that, but game number 2 is worth the same as game number 46. So, the 3 points are equally as important as they are at any point in the season. So it should be treated that way. And you can't just dismiss things as, it's only game 2. Be interesting to see. Did either of you watch it? Or what other people
I listened to it
before I weigh in too much.
Well, I'll tell you.
I listened to it.
You'll be shocked to hear this, but I was on a date last Thursday night, and she was asking about football. Yeah, I know. Just hold the disbelief. And she was asking me about football and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I've got to the stage now where I don't really let it ruin my weekend. Like, it gets to 5 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm over it. And Saturday night, I was kicking stuff around the house. Yeah. I was arguing with people in WhatsApp groups. I was telling people I count as friends to stop sucking cocks. It was just I mean, a holy show of myself.
Household.
Yeah.
I think there's a comment there. Claire's put about why are we not putting any pressure on the keeper? We need to put someone tall, putting pressure on them. For me, I agree to an extent, but also that's a bit of a cop-out. I think that if we just, there's been lots of comments up on the board and on Twitter and everything this week, we need to sign a Wootton replacement. Well, yeah, that'd be nice. And it'd be great to go and sign someone else of Kyle Wootton's quality and have that depth in the squad. But we can't just go and sign more players every time we come up against something. And also, look at the squad we've got. Look at the players we've got. Find a plan B that isn't the same way we play when Wootton's in the team. When we play with Wootton, he's so important and so pivotal to everything that we do that it makes sense to play to those strengths because he's great and not many defenders can handle him. But when he's not in the team, we just play the same way. And we don't have an alternative way. And that's the bigger thing for me. I'd rather see us be able to adapt to circumstances and adapt to the way other teams are set up. And when we are missing Wootton or, I don't know, Collar's missing or Horsfall's missing, that we do have an alternative. And that's not to say we're not going to be hurt when those players are missing because they're such important, integral players. But we've got to have something else up our sleeves. And at the moment we don't. And it's proving quite easy for teams to either take points off us. Every team we've played this season in the 3 games has taken points off us. And we haven't played anyone outstanding. I think Gillingham are a very effective team. And you look at them, they've played 3. They've won 3.
Scored 3.
They've just won 3 games, 1-0. And that's what they're going to do all season. They're going to shithouse their way through. They're going to be horrible to watch, but they won't lose many games. But Walsall were not someone who you'd think, we've been turned over by a really good team there. And the same with Bradford last night. In some ways, people were saying, we got away with, Bradford got away with it and we could have won it if Crankshaw had scored, right at the end and Madden missed from a yard out, even though he's offside, all that kind of stuff. But they missed a penalty and that lump up front, he was clean through and then just completely fluffed it with his overhit touch. So they easily could have beaten us and they weren't a good side at all. And I think the bottom line is, and I know it's easy for me to sit there gobbing off and say it is, but we've got to be better. And it's the thing that smacks me is, and I don't know about tactics or what the plan B is or anything like that, but we just seem to be doing the same thing over and over and over, and it not having any impact or any effect. And we've taken 1 point from 9 games, and I think it's only once in the last 30 odd years we've had a worse start than that over the first 3 games. It's only in 01-02 we took 0 points. We've taken 1 a couple of times, but this is one of our worst starts in the last 30 years now. Big caveats, days and all that. We don't start things change, but that's not. We're 8 points behind Gillingham already. That's already. We're sounds daft to say it after 3 games, but you're essentially relying on other results now already at this point in the season. And I think,
but on the other side of the coin, it is only 3 games, so Gillingham are not going to go unbeaten, and they're not going to get. They're not going to win every single game. Well, they're not going to win every single game 1-0, are they? You know what I mean? I understand that we are 8 points behind them, but it's 3 games in. So
it is, but that's a huge place to be after only 3 games. To be 8 points behind a team after only 3 games. And I know nothing.
How many points were behind first after 10 games last season?
No idea. Probably loads actually, because Orient won something like 8 of the first 10, didn't they? But that's the thing with Orient, because of our poor start, and admittedly they were brilliant, and I think they set something like the 4th tier points record after a certain number of games. Pretty much everyone knew the title was gone by October. We were never ever going to win the title last season because we were so bad early on, and Orient was so good. And it's not being dramatic, and it's part of it is almost like, I don't know, we're here to discuss county and it's got to be interesting, so let's make some interesting points. But if we take 2 points from the next 3 games, Gillingham win the next 2 or 3, then arguably we're 14 points behind them after 5 or 6 games. I don't think that'll be the case, and we will get better because the squad we've got and the manager and everything just will. It can't not get better. It will get better. But, how much of a head start do we continually want to be giving teams every season?
That's the thing for me. It's the view seems to be, oh, well, we always start badly. It's like, well, why? Why? Just because we always start badly? Because all the talk over the summer was about
not starting badly,
having a plan B. Well, A coming out the blocks and showing that we're going to be up there from the start, and then also finding new ways to win, I think was the direct quote.
Yeah.
And then for those first 2 games to just persevere with playing like we've still got a target man up there was just it proper blew him. And that's what annoyed me the most on Saturday. If we'd lost to Walsall on Saturday, but we'd been playing a bit of nice football through the lines, keeping it on the ground, then I wouldn't have been anywhere near as miffed as I was on Saturday.
Just I get what I'm saying. I get I'm being a little bit kind of stirring the pot. It's 3 games. You're still measuring it in minutes the season. But at what point does it not become 3 games? And at what point is it we have had a poor start and there's a problem? Well, not a problem, but like we really have had a poor start. Because if we win the next 2, then we've taken 7 points from 15. That's that's not bad. It's not bad. People say 10 games. Well, that's quarter of the season has gone then. So we just can we afford to write off quarter of the season? I don't think Challoner or Simon Wilson or anyone involved at the club or Mark Starr or anyone would be saying, it's only 3 games, lads, don't worry, because those 3 games, when it comes down to it, could be the difference between winning the title, finishing 3rd and 4th, finishing 7th and 8th. Carry on like this, the difference between 22nd and 23rd.
Imagine that.
Literal people, I don't mean that. So, yeah, I don't think we can just be like, it don't matter, it's only 3 games, because the 3 games we've played now are worth the same points as the 3 games in April at the end of the season.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's still, I'm not saying that I accept that, yes, we've only got 1 point and that's acceptable. It's not acceptable, but I think that we've seen glimpses of how we can play, that we are a decent team. We have got the squad. We have got the depth. When they're making changes, making the subs, maybe he's making some of the subs, which is the same as last season. He seems to make them quite late. Maybe you should get them a bit earlier. And as you say, we've not got a plan B when teams sit in front of us. But I think it should, for me, the first 3 games of this season, I think for me, we're playing better than we did the first 3 games of last season. So I think it's a very fine margin that once it clicks, I think we'll be good. But just unfortunately, we've shooting ourselves in the foot again with the individual errors. That's what seems to be the big thing, like the same as last season. And yeah, we're not clinical in front of the goal. We're creating chances. I think it was 15 or 18 chances was it against Walsall? Admittedly, it was only something like 5 on target or something. But again, I think last night, there was 15 shots on target. So it's there, but there's just that one thing missing, I think. So that's why I'm not overly worried that we are 8 points behind Gillingham. I understand what you're saying. It is first 3 games and the last 3 games are still as important as each other. But I still think the beginning of the season is we've brought new players in. And maybe we've not quite been able to adapt to their strengths and how they play, and that's what we're trying to find in the first 3 games is to get the best out of them, and that's down to Challoner. And say I'm not a football coach. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but every time that Challoner speaks, he's like, yeah, we've been doing well in training. This has been right. That's been right, and he talks a good game, and for the first 25 minutes of every game, we play a good game without it going in the back of the net. But if we take one of them chances in the first 25 minutes, I think that's us. I think we'll comfortably win a game.
But the thing for me, I agree with that. I do agree. But there's a lot there that caused us issues last season as well. And not just, everyone talks about the first 8 or 10 games of last season as well.
Yeah.
We also draw something like 5 games in a row at home, 0-0 or 1-1 against the likes of Doncaster, Gillingham, whoever else.
At the back end of the season.
Yeah, kind of like February, March, April time. And it was all that kind of stuff. We're playing well. We just need someone to put the chances away and it's going to click and we'll come good and all that. And we're here again saying the same stuff. And I do agree with it. I do completely agree with you that we will. We're not going to, take 1 point out of every 3 games. The total will up it and we'll get better, and hopefully we move towards that 2 points a 2 points a game kind of average.
Yeah, average. Yeah,
is what we had over some like the last 32 games of last season, which over the course of the season is title winning form. But we started so poorly, title winning form wasn't enough to even get us automatic promotion. And we're a third of the way through that little chunk of last season's poor start, and we're giving ourselves the same uphill battle again if things don't pick up quickly. And I agree, we have probably been, I think back to last season, Barrow, Stevenage and Colchester were our first 3 games, and they were Barrow was, I think we were just shell-shocked, 3 down at half-time.
Yeah.
Stevenage, arguably, we were unlucky but shot ourselves in the foot. We were a goal up with 2 minutes to go. We lost 2-1. Colchester was just an absolute snooze fest. But we still took 3 points. So Saturday is a big game, and locally they're all big games. But, if we win that, suddenly we're 4 points from 4 games. Things are looking up. If we lose it, 1 point from 4, that's
a terrible start.
That's a poor start. And these are the fine margins. And we talk about Gillingham. We could be 11 points behind Gillingham. We could be 5 points behind them. But also our friends in North Wales, they won the other night. They drew. We could be 6 points behind them. Could we be 11 behind Gillingham and 6 behind Wrexham on Saturday? Let's hope not, because we're just giving ourselves an uphill battle. But I'm not saying anything here that people at the club don't know. It's all familiar.
Yeah, of course,
things the same 12 months ago. And you look at the record of Challoner and Clint Hill since they've been with us. I think you'd be daft to. Well, I don't think anyone's writing them off, are they? But I think you'd be absolutely daft to think that they wouldn't turn it around. But let's hope it's sooner rather than later, because I just don't want us to be, in the situation we were last year when we've almost waved goodbye to the title by September, October time because of our poor start and another team's really strong start. Because we should be fighting for the title. No two ways about it. That obviously, we would all take third now completely. We would all take. Yeah. Well, certainly, I'd take third now.
Oh yeah, definitely all day long.
I don't know if I'd take a playoff spot. I'd certainly take going up in the playoffs if it was offered. But I bet Challoner and Wilson haven't been targeted with finishing in the playoffs or finishing third.
Oh no,
I'm pretty confident that the challenge and the objective they've got is to go and win the title.
But do you think that the teams have also changed the way that they want to come and play against us? Because everybody has basically put us pretty much favourites, joint favourites. So I think that every single team coming to Edgeley Park is going to set up for a draw and try and snatch it like Gillingham did and Bradford did to a certain extent last night. And I think that Bradford possibly will be one of them that will be up there. And in their eyes, taking a point from Edgeley Park is, superb return for them.
Yeah, completely. And I think that's just something, again, that goes back to us. We're going to have to live with that. That's the cost of where we are now in the world. If we go and sign players like Nick Powell and we've got, the existing or established, likes of Madden and Sarcevic and Collar and everyone, then we are a team to come and take a swing at and to be shot down. So we can't have any qualms about teams sitting back and be like, come on then, come and beat us. Like Gillingham did. And if you're coming, you can't really condone trying to kick us off the park. But yeah, if we were a Crawley or a Morecambe or a Harrogate, and we went to Edgeley Park or we went to Wrexham or something and went there trying to play big, expansive football and play them off the park, we'd get absolutely battered. So, unfortunately, we are one of the fantasy teams. We've got probably the strongest squad with some of the strongest individuals. So, it's up to us to find a way to get around these teams. And as I say, I've no idea how we do that. I wouldn't know a tactics board.
I
do know that we can be very effective, but also we are less effective without the key people to make that system work. I don't think it's too controversial to say that. So we have to find another way that isn't just swapping Wootton for Alafe and carrying on as normal.
Absolutely. Well, before we get on to the probably more optimistic side of the show with last night's performance, I did notice that. I thought we should have had a penalty on Saturday, and then Dave Chandler confirmed in his interview last night that we had an apology from a referee. That's all well and good now, isn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah, thanks.
I seen it at the time on the stream. I was confident it was a penalty, and then
was that the one at the far end?
Yeah.
You couldn't. I'd not. Initially, my reaction from the far end of the ground was, "That's never a penalty." But you when you're 80 yards away at pitch level, you've no idea. But yeah, if the refs apologised or said he's got it wrong, that's quite a statement, isn't it?
Absolutely is. Before we get on to Bradford, then I've got a couple of comments coming in that I think we should bring up. So other number 12s, Gaz Eccleston has pointed out Ali Gibb.
Yeah,
there's a number 12, of course, and another one that furthers your theory, Waggy. Adam Lafondra, number 12.
Good.
Thanks to Gazendo for that. A couple of other things coming in. Sid Freeman, thank you for the super like on YouTube. No, I felt like a proper YouTuber then doing that. I'm like, super like.
Super like.
Yeah, you can. I think it's called a super like. I don't know. Russ does all this, but yeah, you can chuck money in the coffers on YouTube. So very kind of you, Sid. Thank you. And John Billsbury also points out. Well, speaking of John Billsbury in a minute, he also gets the Patreon stuff on Apple Podcasts as well. So it's everywhere, but it all over the place, like something that's all over the place.
Something that's all over the place.
Something that's all over the place. And well, our defence last night at a point. John Billsbury is also doing some blogs for us this season, and his first one is up. So if you go to one of our pages and find our link tree, you'll find the link to the WordPress there. And John's done a lovely review of the trip to Hillsborough last Tuesday, which is well worth a read. Right, last night we were all there last night, so we can all discuss it. That's exciting, isn't it? That's one for the bedwetters. They'll be loving that. Yeah,
that's because it wasn't a away game. That's why.
That's it. That's it. God forbid people have responsibilities and sometimes just can't be asked. I'll be quite honest with you. I think my days of getting on a train at 8 o'clock in the morning are longer, especially with the price of them nowadays, and the smell, and the people you get on there. It's like, oh. Told you, man of the people, me, man of the people. Yeah, last night I thought, once again, first 20-25 minutes, well on top, as is the common theme. It all went a bit mediocre for the rest of the first half from both sides. It wasn't just us. Something I've noticed from the last two games, both Walsall and Bradford, I think, looked worse than they did last season. And I'm going to go out there. I do not think that Bradford will make the playoffs. I don't think Mark Hughes will reach the end of the season. You know, he's not going to die or anything. I just think they'll sack him. Because that was so... Andy Cook up top.
Did he get 32 goals last season?
Yeah, 32 goals last season. And
yeah, top goal scorer, wasn't he?
Piled on the pounds in the summer.
I thought he ran like T-Rex. When I first seen him, I didn't realise it was Powell, and he just seemed to be doing a bit of this. I was like,
I don't know what's going on with him. It's just
I did not recognise him at all when he first got. I was like, who's that?
Scoring plenty from corners and lofted balls in the box and all that kind of stuff. But you know, he had one opportunity to shine, didn't he? When he was clean through at the end. I think was that Cook who was clean through.
Yeah, at the end, it was Cook.
And then and he'd looked to do all the right things till he got near Ben, and then Ben did all the right stuff. He stopped it, but the touch, excuse me, the touch was just a.
What you're doing like a little orgasm noise there at one point.
Yeah.
The touch was
of a man who scored 32 goals last season.
I've seen people in the comments saying he picked up an injury on the first day, apparently. But I don't think the injury picked up on the first day will legislate for that 3 stone that he's piled on. It seems to me like he's got his 3-year contract in the summer off the back of the last couple of seasons there and just
spent it at Domino's.
What you get with that? 3 pizzas?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought we tried to play it on the deck for all the talk. My biggest, one of the biggest issues at weekend was the fact that every cross we put in was floated. I think it was 41 crosses and 6 of them met one of our players. And then the talk in the interview was that we weren't going to deviate from it, which really upset me ahead of last night. And then we didn't have much success with them in terms of creating chances, but we were winning corners from these low crosses. We were keeping the pressure on, and it really, it's just. It'll be easy to be critical because at the end of the day, it was a home game under the lights, big crowd, and we've not won. But I think there was a lot last night to be pleased about. What do you reckon, Waggy?
I think so, yeah. But I think going back to say about your crosses, they said it in the commentary that against Walsall, it was all just nice big floaty crosses and their keeper was just catching practice. Whereas you seemed as though last night they'd been told that and they were just drilling them. They seemed to be drilling them instead of trying to floaty crosses from last night. But yeah, as I say, first 25 minutes, again, dominated, couldn't score. Pretty much, nothing for the rest of the half. And I think, it just seemed to get a bit scrappy. But again, we should have had a penalty for a Laffy, which I thought was exactly the same incident that they got their penalty for. And I mean, I think that linesman that was on the main stand side for us,
he was a fucking dweeb.
He was. I mean, there was 3 or 4 offside decisions, and it's like you could clearly see the player was coming from behind the Bradford player, and he was putting the flag up, and he did that 3 or 4 times, and it was just mental. Like, yeah,
the first time I thought, who's not made a mistake at work, and then for him to just carry on doing it. There was one where I think he put his flag up for one of our crosses going out of play or something when there was about 14 players in between him and the ball. And it's like, how can you have seen this? It was just, I mean, Stockbridge, the referee, is one that we've had quite a few times and never had a good time with him. And it just,
I think he's done the same for Bradford. Because I've seen it. It seemed on Twitter that even the Bradford fans were worried about him. All the Bradford fans, like, both sides won't end with 11 players on the pitch, not with the new rules and the way he'll play it, because he wants to be centre of attention. And I think there were certain times last night where you could see that he was like, "Oh no, I'm Billy Big Bollocks." But yeah, that linesman ruined it.
Yeah. They should do an app or something where it comes up with what referee you've got for your game, and then you can read reviews from like opposition fans about them. Right, and just get the lowdown.
Like an Amazon review.
We knew it was going to be shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then
5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1 stars.
But then you're going to get the fake reviews, then, aren't you? That's the problem. The ones that they use to like bump up the ratings. Like, oh no,
Jeff in Haiti says he was good.
I'm already. No, I was in Tuvalu on Saturday, actually. If you don't mind, I've been watching repeats of Pointless on Challenge TV. So when they have countries round, like anything that's pointless, I make a note of it, and I use that for my VPN for the game. So just to add a bit of excitement into Saturday afternoons until we start winning.
The jeopardy!
I think Waggy's right that I think against a lot of teams in League Two, we would have won last night. Obviously, the issue is we didn't. But I think against a lot of teams, we played well enough to win, and it's fine margins and all that kind of stuff, and nothing to be overly concerned about. I am gonna, I think, disagree with the penalty. I was in lower tier 1, and from where I was, I think that's exactly what Olafe is great at. Knock a ball ahead. He's quick. Defenders don't like it, so I really think that's his absolute strength. We didn't do enough of it, but I think that's what he was great at. But for me, it was lots of wrestling with each other. Those situations tend to go with the defender. I wouldn't have been shocked at all if it had been given to us. Been very happy, but I wasn't outraged that it wasn't.
All the swears were coming out.
Yeah, I think did he even give a free kick, or did he just kind of let the ball roll to the keeper? I can't remember.
Let the ball roll to the keeper, yeah, goal kick, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't outraged at all. From where I was, so it was kind of fairly close to us. I don't think it didn't look like a penalty to me.
Okay,
it was my take on it, but I am often wrong. So
there was another one on. I think it was Madden who got pulled down on the box that I thought was less of a shout than the Tonto one, but I mean, I missed theirs. I had to watch the highlights to see theirs because I was still celebrating our goal, and then
too far away.
Said to me, it just seemed a bit clumsy more than anything else. That's something that's boiling my piss a lot at the moment. We've only got one recognised centre half on the pitch. It's like, well, yeah, we did last season and finished with best defensive record in the league.
Yeah,
it's just.
Well, we've got Neil Byrne. It's a problem. Then playing, we've got Akil Wright, who spent the whole of last season playing as a centre back. So,
and he played really well at Sheff Wednesday. So I thought he'd have had a shout for starting in the league. I thought he played really well. He didn't play as well when he went into the defensive midfielder, but right centre back.
Oh yeah,
I still think he's
centre half. I think he's brilliant. As a centre,
and I think that releases Noyle. I think Noyle's
as a midfielder. how did we describe him last night? He's just kind of chaotic. That he tries to do, as a centre half, when he's got that little bit of time on the ball for him to step out and beat his man and everything. I think it works really well as the kind of the Crowsdale replacement. And
he gets closed down too quickly.
Facing his goal, he doesn't have the time to do that. He can't. Yeah. He's, for me, I know he played there at York. It's a very different level between Conference North and League Two. And I think I don't know why he's not playing right centre back. For me, he'd be straight back in there. He wouldn't even be back in there. He would have just been there against Gillingham. But yeah, I wouldn't go near him as a defensive midfielder.
But again, I can sort of see, using Noel and Torre as, left and right centre backs, because you can see them starting to overlap and get alongside Southam Hales and stuff like that, which I think is good, because then you see Horsfall and like Torre come across if Noel goes forward, or if Torre goes forward, then Horsfall. And so we're still, we've got there, maybe they've not got the physicality of what you would class for a centre back, but I still think it, again, if it starts clicking, if that starts working, and you can see, you can see the patterns of Southam Hales goes up, you can see Torre, following him and giving him support, and then you see the other two sort of come into the middle to cover for them. So again, it's pros and cons, isn't it? Do we want just a centre back that just like gets it and hoofs it, or do we want to get it down and play football? Which I'd much prefer us playing football.
I agree. I'm not one of these people who think centre halves should be 6'6" and just twat it over the pop side every time they get the ball. But we didn't have that last season. We had Horsfall and Akil Wright.
And Hussey.
I know we had Hussey, who, I'm not sorry to see the back of him, to be honest. But we had Wright and Horsfall and then another. And we weren't conceding. We were doing the right things. And I get, if we can be progressive and we can get one of the three centre halves going forward and the other two can cover for him, and that works, happy days. But we've not kept a clean sheet yet this season.
Yeah.
So if we're not doing that, I don't know if it's working. And I know it's early days again, and always got to caveat it with that. But the thing that I think, whenever we've kind of gone on to have success under any manager, it's always been built on clean sheets. And probably any success in any football team ever has been built on clean sheets. That's certainly what Jim used to do. And I don't want to give him too much credit, but it's even what Rusk did when he was with us, that he stopped us conceding goals. He also stopped us scoring goals as well, which wasn't great. But if we can, if we're conceding a goal every game, then that's the problem we've got. So maybe in 5 games' time, that whole thing has clicked. But
yeah,
I think there's one of the comments there is that are we trying to crowbar Noel and Southam Hales into the team at the same time? I think is a pretty valid comment. I know in pre-season we spoke about, I think when I went to Spain, I came on and said that I wouldn't be surprised if Noel and Southam Hales were both in the same team at the same time. And I don't know what the success metric of that is, of whether it is working. Maybe our chances created is great, but our goals conceded is not, because we've conceded in every game. So Akil Wright was a key part of us having the second best defence in the league last season. It seems odd that he's not. So was Kyle Noel. To be fair, Kyle Noel played virtually every game since when he joined in January. Southam Hales played a lot before that. So between them, they played a big part as well. But I would like to see Akil Wright back.
Yeah, I would. On the midfield, obviously Crowsdale not quite fully fit yet. We had Cody Johnson again, third game in a row where he started. Thoughts, Waggy?
Yeah, he looked comfortable on the ball, didn't he? He wasn't scared of getting the ball with players in close proximity. A few times where he got the ball, there's a couple of Bradford players around him, and he, used his skill and was like got free from them and then found the ball and stuff like that. And most of the time, I think he was looking forward. He didn't generally look backwards. So Yeah, I thought he had a good game. As you say, I think against Walsall, I think that yellow card in the first 7 minutes ruined him because I think he was a bit apprehensive on the Walsall game, but he just seemed to have the freedom, didn't he? And he just seemed to be there and just breaking things up and stuff. So I can see him being a really good replacement alternative to Crowsdale, and he's playing without fear, isn't he? So I think, yeah, he did well in there. Did well in the middle.
We'll
Well,
soon
there's still those moments of naivety that you see, but other
Yeah.
than that, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I was saying you're playing. I agree with everything you said there, but playing without fear, we'll soon give him that, won't we? We'll soon ruin it in the same way that we've ruined every other decent young player in the last 20 years. Yeah, I think I saw something the other day that kind of compared him, and it was out of context. This could sound ridiculous, but compared him to like Phil Foden, in that I remember when Foden was really young, came on the scene, everyone rated him at City, knew he was going to be fantastic, but wasn't played that often, and that Guardiola held him back, and there was always, well, why isn't he playing? He shouldn't even be playing for England, let alone City. And Guardiola probably didn't bring him in as a regular till even now he's arguably not a nailed-on starter at City.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't playing regularly till he was like 19, 20, when he was on the fringes of the first team when he was 17. And I think Johnson could be similar to that. I think I don't think we are for a second, but if we are, planning on playing him for 40 games this season, he's going to have to be a bloody thick skin and, be an outrageous talent to get through that. And I think, he clearly is exceptionally good, but he's 18 years old. And how many 18-year-olds do you see starting week in, week out, centre midfield in League Two? So
I think
the plan is to be playing him every week. I think once Crowsdale's back, Sarcevic and Collar and Powell are all back. He may even go back out on loan.
I think he'll go back out on loan. As you say, I don't think I wouldn't like to see him playing 40 games for us this year, because I think that would be too much for him. And as you say, we as fans, we'd probably ruin him. Because we'd soon get on his back for making a couple of mistakes and stuff. But I think at the minute he's been given his chance, and I think he's done well. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have him in the team. But I understand that, as you say, fully fit Crowsdale plays in front of Johnson, and maybe if we do keep Johnson, have him on the subs bench or play him in cup games and stuff like that, then that might aid his development rather than him going out on loan. Because I think he'll go to a National League side. I don't think he won't go anywhere in League Two. So but I think they said Rochdale have signed somebody else in a similar position to him now.
Two midfielders who signed since he got recalled. Yeah, so you'd expect maybe somewhere like Altrincham possibly, or
I was going to say
Altrincham would probably suit him.
I think Alty would be a great shout. And do you know what? Yeah. I honestly think Alty are a good shout for the playoffs this season.
I was saying the same in the summer. Yeah, they've been building slowly last couple of years towards that.
Yeah, they've gone, the full time now. They've had a bit of investment. They've signed that. I think it's Chris Clark from Fleetwood. He was on loan there last season.
Yeah.
I went to see them in the trophy game against Wrexham. It's only 2 minutes from me, so I went to see him in the trophy game against Wrexham last season, and I remember seeing him and putting on the board that Clark is class. He's really good, and they've got him permanently now. They've signed him from Fleetwood. They've got Ethan Ross, who I don't think is a bad keeper, but things need to go right for him. And he's, for the highlights so far, but he's looked decent. And they've got, they've still got some good players, and I think they could be a good shout. And if Cody Johnson went there, and they tend to play good football, they're not a battering ram of a team. He could do really well there.
Mm.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of time for Altrincham, to be honest, because they sort of, there's been plenty of times in the past where over the past 40, 50 years or so where they've been close to getting in the Football League, and then re-election stopped them, and then the ground wasn't up to scratch. And it's just they're one of the local sides I've got no ill will towards, really, in terms of
think the trivia about them is they're the non-league club with the most league upsets in the FA Cup.
Really?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we know what's happening this season, then, don't we?
Yeah. Gordon Johnson, Elliot Osborne, and Ethan Ross to score. Yeah.
I'll definitely be piling on Ethan Ross to score because he'll be about 30 yards out of his goal anyway. So
He'll just come out for it, just be wandering around the pitch, won't he? And he'll just yeah.
It's good. It's good to see it going well for us. Well, before we wrap up, we'll have a quick look forward to. So I was going to try and get a Barrow fan on, but they
haven't got any.
No,
Oof.
they've all gone into the upside down, haven't they? So
they'll be on. They'll all be on dates with the sisters.
Are we expecting Pete Wild to be doing his Jurgen Klopp impression if they win with his fist pumping?
He's already done it, hasn't he? He's already done it this season.
Like a little Lego man.
He's quite good, though, isn't he? He's quite effective.
Yeah, I like him, mate.
I do wonder, in a parallel universe, when we lose to Barrow, we lose to Mansfield, and we lose to whoever else, Crawley. And Challoner gets sacked. Would Pete Wild be on the shortlist, or would we try and get someone like Darren Moore or something? Would we, properly get the Vita checkbook out?
Imagine that. That'd be mental. That'd be mental. God, I hope that don't be. The last thing I want is a managerial change. Really, have
you grown quite fond of Dave?
I just don't like. I don't like having to do an extra podcast.
Yeah. Just to be unequivocally clear, do not want Challoner to go at all. Not speculating that. Not trying to put a rumour out there. Nothing. Don't want him to go. I think he's proven he'll do. He's won the league and finished fourth with us and grow every season. So 100%, that's where I stand. But like the drama of the rumours and like the spectre of like Paul Ince coming back as manager or something, and all the kind of stuff that gets thrown about.
We get Didier Man back.
Yeah. Remember some of the names that were thrown around when Rusk went and Challoner was.
Ferguson. Well, Duncan Ferguson. Now he's been released by Forest Green.
Sorry, Duncan Ferguson was one. Paul Ince was another. Like Chris Powell. Great days.
Just these names that somehow manage to pop up every time. Yeah, never achieve anything, but always got things.
Question from Claire there. I don't want Charlie out, but how patient do you think Stock will be if bad start continues? My totally uninformed opinion would be not very. Is the answer. That's ultimately the game. Well, the stakes that we're in now. We're on there's lots of money involved, lots of investment. We've clearly got a plan, lots going on to bring that to fruition. If any part of it isn't working, whether that's on the pitch, whether it's recruitment, whether it's fitness, whether it's the meals that are being served to the players at Carrington, something will change. I think we wouldn't hesitate to make a change if we would say lose the next 3, 5, 10 games, whatever. Clearly not lose the next 10, but
I think you'd get a bit more patience with Challoner than with Rusk, let's say. I think he's, as you say, won the National League with him. I know that was 2 seasons ago. We finished 4th last year, only missed out by 7 minutes on going up again. So I think he'd get a bit more grace for it, unless, as you say, if we did lose, if we had 1 point out of 21 points, then possibly it might start looking. But I think he'd be given a bit more grace or a bit more patience.
I think there's credit in the bank, which always happens. Before we wrap up, speaking of credit in the bank, we can't let it go without mentioning Ben last night. The Ben Hinchliffe fend.
The Ben Hinchliffe fend.
Fantastic again.
Said it loads of times that I'm not even. There's no debate anymore about him being our greatest ever number one. And as you said on Twitter, Nick, Paul Jones was better. So if that's your response, and you fundamentally don't understand what we're saying, but for me, he's a genuine contender, and not even a contender, a strong shout for our greatest ever player now, who's ever played for Stockport County. And again, if you get some idiot saying, "Oh, George Best was better," well, Chris,
yeah, he was still drunk.
Of course they were. Well, you look at the story of where he's come from. What's he like?
Yeah.
Season now with 2 league titles, Wembley promotions, every personal record you can pretty much win, club records along the way. The story and the narrative plays a huge part with it. Who is there to really rival that? An obvious one is servant to the club would be Jim, 1,000 games. No one's ever going to get near that. It's not really. You can go way back, can't you? Way before my time and knowledge.
Yeah, Trevor Porteous would be another one as well. I think he was a servant for a long time. But that's the 3: him, Jim, and Ben in terms of what they've given to the club.
Andy Thorpe racked up, unbelievable, like another 150 games on top of Ben almost, which I don't think Ben will. Well, he almost certainly did, because that's another at least 3 full seasons. I don't think he's gonna do that. But it's not just about that. Andy Thorpe. We got 1 promotion with us, didn't he? Never won a league title and all of that. So, so again, that's a debate for another show. But yeah, there's still some people who would be like, I'd play Smith on Saturday because he punched across rather than caught it.
No, I was just saying, yeah, he makes the odd mistake, but you tell me which keeper doesn't. You know what I mean? Every single.
You've seen that clown United have got. Christ.
But no, he's every single game he makes a world-class save, or he makes a save that stops a surefire goal. You know what I mean? For the first every game so far this season, there's been at least one where it's been like that. Anybody else that had been a goal, and he's managed to tip it around the post or put it to one of our players and stuff like that. So yeah, he's, as you say, he was a part-time an HGV driver. He's a few to see, and you know what I mean. He's driving and traveling around the country and gets back for training and then comes back for a Saturday and stuff. And then, as you say, turning pro, 2 league promotions. He was absolutely immense last night. I think he had, you can argue he had one where he came out and tried to punch it, but there was like, I think the rest of the outfield players were in front of him and he didn't make it. But apart from that, again, I think as you say, he's improved every season, and I think he's coming out and commanding his area. These first few games, he's looked better than he did last season. Coming out and he's making the punches and he's getting distance on the punches and stuff like that. So again, he's improving, and he's got to be up there as he's up there as the greatest keeper, and maybe player.
Yeah, when we went over to Spain, like they had this meet and greet like the night before when you could go and like mither all the players and all this.
Did you do a Wayne's World?
I'm not. I didn't know Bellis is up there doing his thing. He's very, very good at it. Then he introduced the players, and they all came out really kind of sheepishly, like everyone. And then straight away, there's people throwing their arms around them and hugging them and asking for selfies and all this. I was like, oh, bloody hell, like, give them a break. But then I did see Ben, and I was like, should I go and say something? I was like, hi, Ben. Ben, I'm Ben. And he was like, I'm that one on Twitter who keeps like posting pictures of your shirts that you've got. And he was like, oh, wow, bloody hell, I don't even remember wearing half of them. Like, where'd you get them from? And I was like, I don't know. I've got like 20 of them now. And I said to him, like, what happened to your Wembley shirt? It's like, basically, can I have it? And he said that he's got it at home and he's keeping it and he's framing it. I was like, all right. Nice one. Better with me though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you want us to go up via the playoffs again this year, so we could get another one.
Yeah. I did say this to him because you all had a spare. So I was like, was there just one or two? And he's like, I think there was two. I was like, where did the other one go? Like, I'm gonna go with Mine the Landon. And I think he said that like my Mark Stott's daughter or one of his kids has got it. No, I'm never gonna get that then, am I? So
No chance.
yeah. So if anyone out there does have any Hinchliffe shirts or any other player worn shirts, I've got to shoehorn this in, Nick, every time.
Oh, of course.
You know what to do. At County Shirts on Twitter. Drop me a line and I'll bring a big bag of cash to your front door in exchange for them. Thank you very much.
He will. I can attest. And well, I went to his front door and got the cash because I was in the area. Sometimes I am allowed out of Stockport and up to sale. Speaking of Ben Hinchliffe and other assorted legends, of course, Ben will be at Stockport Gin in October alongside Russ, hosting the co-ops evening with the 2019 squad. That's going to be a good one. Got some special. Got some good. A good idea. Well, you had a good idea for that. So yeah.
Something I've made some notes on it. So if anyone has bought,
I've made something. You made like a big.
So
it's built a volcano.
Got a mood board. A mood board for it. So if anyone has bought tickets for it, you've been to see anything that I've done with players or that I've done in conjunction with Nick and the podcast before, you're probably expecting me to rock up with a rail with the shirts, and Sam Minahan will come on stage. Oh, Sam, you wore this shirt at Curzon Ashton away in your first game and your first goal for the club. What was that like? And it's great, interesting, done all that. So that's not what you're getting. There will be shirts there. There will be a rail. There will be Nick, Russ and I, plus others. There'll be pretty much the full ensemble from 18-19 there. Probably not Jason Gilchrist. But we have a premise. We have something which, if we can pull it off and make it happen, I think it'll be quite good.
I think it will be, yeah.
Yeah, but you will have to pay attention if you're there. You can't just be sat at the bar chatting. So shut up and listen. That's what we've got to say.
Isn't it?
We'll have marshals out.
Yeah.
I'll get a couple of high vises from the Hatters Half Marathon.
Yeah, high vis. Maybe a clipboard.
Listen. This is for your benefit.
Clipboard. Yeah, you're having it.
I'd look bloody good with a clipboard. I might ask if I can be on the door, before it starts. That's the type of minute amount of power that can really
It'd go
really
to your head. You'd start battling with people.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long. But we might attempt to if Russ presses the right button on Audacity this time, maybe the best bits of that might come out as a little podcast. We'll see. Russ doesn't know about all this, so he knows he's doing it, but he doesn't know about all this, so he's probably just fallen off his bike or something listening to this. So I was like, we're doing what? But yes, we are doing it. It's going to be great.
He's finished now.
Right.
He'll be lay on the bed, still on his bike, because he can't get off it.
Yeah, pedaling in his sleep. like when a cat has a dream about catching a mouse, and it's just like going. Good place to wrap it up then. Hour and 9 minutes. You can't whack that. That's the best hour and 9 minutes of county chat you're going to get all week, really. Unless you watch like Dave Challoner's interview from last night, like 7 times.
Anything since Tuesday, you mean?
Yeah, and then Tuesday onwards, yeah. Because we don't want to discount the Monday stuff either, because it just saves me having to do it. Christ almighty, it feels so good just getting to like gloss over Walsall. Felt so good. Just genuinely the best I've felt all week. That. Let's hope I'm feeling that good on Saturday. We're all there Saturday, aren't we?
Yep.
All there.
Lovely stuff. We will all possibly see each other then. Because it's easy to just spot each other in a crowd of like 9,000. Right. That'll do us for the evening. We'll be back next week when Russ will be back. And I think we've got a guest lined up. So just all back to normal, isn't it? It's like being back to school after the holidays. Gonna wear my new shoes.
Yeah. Familiar sense of head and fear kicking in. Yeah. Heartbeat theme tune in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I better have a bath, Anna. Yes, we will see you next Wednesday. Waggy, thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for stepping in. Well,
Cheers. Thank you.
we'll be seeing more of you. Well, both of you, because you're both part of the team now, part of the ensemble. Ensemble has become the word of the evening, and I'm a big fan. That might be the episode title, to be honest. Still not outsourcing it. I don't think I can get the David Rathband thing in as an episode title. So, maybe I could. Let's see. Now Rossi's shitting himself. Right. We'll be back next week. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Cheers.
This episode of the Scarf Bagara War was written, recorded, and produced by Russ Johnson and Nick Lee. The music on the opening titles was produced by Dan Johnson. Subscribe wherever you get your content, as well as finding out how to join the TSBW fan club. Check out the links in the description or go to allthews scarfbagarawar.co.uk.